Namaste, Pranam, Gita Dhyanam. ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्. O Bhagavad Gita, with which Lord Narayana himself gave enlightenment to Arjuna. The ancient sage Vyasa included it in the Mahabharata. O Goddess, showerer of the nectar-like knowledge of non-dualism contained in your 18 chapters. O my affectionate mother, the destroyer of rebirth, I meditate upon thee. Krishna Vandana. वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. Son of Vasudeva, the slayer of Kansa and Chanur, extreme delight for Mother Devaki, O Lord Krishna, the supreme teacher of the universe, my salutations to you. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Dnyaan Vidyaan Yoga, the 7th Adhyaya, and Sri Krishna is building up our confidence in the way we worship. Sri Krishna says all types of worships, they are good. With whichever intention, to whichever God, people start worshipping with faith. That is the crux of the entire matter. That is very critical. Worshipping with faith, whichever desire, doesn't matter. There, in the field of worship, it is not this worship is high, this worship is low. Worshipping, praying the Lord for the material gains is not bad, Sri Krishna says. Fine, that is because these devotees, they are driven by their sanskaras, by their tendencies. They are bound to pray for that only. They cannot suddenly ask for ultimate enlightenment. Let them progress step by step. As their Shraddha, I give them. I make their Shraddha so strong that they continue their worship in undaunted manner. In the 21st Shloka that we read last time, Sri Krishna has clearly told us that yo yam tanum bhaktaha śhraddhayā chintum ichhati, with whatever desire they start worshipping with that Shraddha. Yo yam tanum. In whichever form they worship the Lord. May not be the Nirakar, may not be the formless entity. They cannot immediately start worshipping without any basic preparation. Tomorrow if somebody tells me, start worshipping, start thinking about the formless, how do I? I have not reached that stage. I can enroll for graduation only after completing my schooling, isn't it? From kindergarten, I cannot go and start studying the undergraduate courses. I have to gradually, from kindergarten to the lower school, to the middle school, to the high school, I have to complete that journey. I have to complete those phases. Then I prepare myself to get into that position of worshipping the formless. Till then, let me have this beautiful form of the Lord. Let me have this beautiful form of the Mother. Let me worship her in that form. But with Shraddha, Sri Krishna says. Let me ask for material gains from that Ram Lala or Krishna, the God with form, or Ma Kali or Ma Durga, whichever form. let me start that with Shraddha. And then Sri Krishna says, once the devotees have that Shraddha, with whatever desires they start worshipping, I make that Shraddha so firm, so steady, it cannot be shaken. Tasya achalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham. I bestow it. I bestow that Shraddha. I strengthen their faith. I make it firm and steady. I help them to worship in that manner with that Shraddha. So today, on this 22nd shloka that we are going to read, Sri Krishna says, he is again continuing his discourse on the same theme that he taught us last time. Tayā śhraddhayā yuktas tasyārādhanam īhate labhate tataḥ kāmān mayaiva vihitān. Tayā śhraddhayā. He, with that shraddha, with that faith, yuktaha, endued with that faith, endued with that achala shraddha, with that steady, firm, unshakable faith, tasyārādhanam īhate. That devotee, he engages in worshipping that form of his choice, that form of the God. He starts worshipping. Labhate tataḥ kāmān. Labhate and obtains. Tataḥ kāmān. From that worship, he obtains the desires. Labhate tataḥ kāmān mayaiva vihitān. That I only ordain it. The fulfillment of those desires of his, worshipping that form of the God with full faith. I only ordain to get him his results. I only ordain to get him his desires fulfilled. So, he thinks that, oh, this form of God has fulfilled my desires. Sri Krishna says, that is his misunderstanding. It is not that form of God, because that form of God is also filled with me. Ultimately, it is I. It is I as the ultimate Purusha who fulfills even those the desires, maybe of lower quality, maybe of lower nature, but I only fulfill it, none else. Endowed with that faith, he engages in worship of that form, and from it he obtains his desires, which are actually being ordained by me only. It is not that lower form of God is fulfilling those desires. It is ordained by me that this devotee will, the desires of this devotee will be fulfilled by worshipping this lower God. It is my plan only. I have planned it. I have ordained it. Vihitān mayaiva. I have only planned it. I have only ordained it that this devotee gets his desires fulfilled by worshipping this God with faith. I have made that faith strong and steady and unshaken. With that faith, when he starts worshipping that God, his desires get fulfilled, and this whole thing, this whole drama is written by me. I am the doer of everything. You don't worry about it. Now, whichever God fulfills that desire, that the God is nothing but Sri Krishna himself. The river, the vale, the lake, the spring, these are all the different sources from which water can be used. Water may be available on this earth from so many different sources. We may get river water, we may get tube well water, we may get water from open well or from lake or from pond or from tank. But what is the actual source of this water in all the different channels? The source is the rainwater. If it doesn't rain, all this, the well, the river, the pond, the lake, they will all go dry. So, rainwater is the ultimate, is the original source. And that's what Sri Krishna also is telling us, that he is the ultimate source. May be perceived in a different forms of gods. May be perceived in this female deity, that male deity, this animal deity, this half man, half animal deity, all these kind of things. But ultimately, the source of the reality is one and the same. Like the source of water in all these available locations, the source is rainwater. But the grand source for all of these is the rain, without which all these come to naught. If it doesn't rain, will there be any water in the lake? Will there be any water in the river even? Will there be any water in the tube wells? No, everything goes dry then. If it doesn't rain at all, from where will the water come? Similar to this is the grace of Lord, which gives the start, sustenance and support to all beings. The grace of the Lord, the blessings of the Lord, the doings of the Lord, the Supreme Lord. All the needs of all beings come from the same cosmic source. And we feel, oh, today I have worshipped this God. He has given me this fruit. Ultimately, the fruit comes from the same Purusha reality, the Brahman reality. But the men of mediocre understanding take it that the help comes to them from the gods they worship. They feel, oh, that's why that the cult starts getting formed. If I worship this goddess, I will get this. They get that kind of understanding, and they say, you worship this god, you get this. You worship this goddess, you get this. If you want this, you worship this deity. So all these things, these are the understandings of the devotee of a mediocre level, of a lower level. But Sri Krishna says even that is necessary. Without that, there is no evolution. Unless and until one starts worshipping, even if at the lower level, that person, that devotee, that aspirant cannot evolve to the higher level. Comes Dvaita, then comes Vishishtadvaita, then comes Advaita. That is the ultimate. And for that, one has to take many births. And through all these births, the Shraddha, the faith has to be achala, which God is helping us making it achala. We don't have to worry about it. We have to just have faith. God will make it strong. And then with strong faith, with that steady faith, with that unshaken faith, we can climb the mountains and reach the ultimate goal. What Sri Ramakrishna has to say on this? In the same way that we have seen that example of water from different sources and the rainwater being the real one. The desires being fulfilled by many deities. But the ultimate provider of those things as desired, the ultimate provider is the ultimate Lord. What Sri Ramakrishna says, water seems to be flowing out from the mouths of cows, tigers, lions attached to the drain pipes from the roof of the house. In the olden days, these houses, whenever the terraces of all these houses, there was a water way provided so that water won't get stagnated on the terrace. So what the architects, the home, the constructors, they used to do those days, they used to give some shape to that water outlet from the terrace. Some people used to make this in the form of a mouth of a cow. Sometimes in those corners, typically these used to be the four corners of the terrace of that house. Maybe a shape of a mouth of a cow, or a mouth of a tiger, or the mouth of a lion, or sometimes even the mouth of some kind of a demon or some figure, human figure. And after rain, that water used to come from that opening. And then people used to say, oh, water coming from the cow's mouth, water coming from the mouth of tiger, water coming from the mouth of lion, water coming from the mouth of demon. The people used to pinpoint water coming from cow's mouth. But from where that water has come? But all these waters have actually come from the heavens in the form of rain. People only see that water is falling from the mouth of cow. Sri Ramakrishna says, no, it is not so. The water has actually come in the form of rain. That is the real source. And this mouth of a cow or a tiger or a lion or a demon or some being, that is just that artsman's creation. And we say, oh, that is the source of water. No, that is not the source. Sri Ramakrishna says, source is from way up above. It has come as rains. Similarly, now Sri Ramakrishna is slightly giving another, quoting this truth as a separate example. He is saying, similarly, the words uttered by the holy ones are very often the inspiration that comes from Ishvara. So Sri Ramakrishna says, many different people, many different saints and holy people, they might be advising, teaching their own teachings. But Sri Ramakrishna says, from all these holy people, the teachings they come is only from Ishvara. Like Sri Krishna says here, all these desires may be fulfilled by different gods, different forms of gods, in this form, of that form. But it all comes from me. So Sri Ramakrishna here is extending this example to the fact that all the teachings of the great teachers of the world, we may find these teachings to be, this is the teaching of Christ, this is the teaching of Krishna, this is the teaching of Rama, this is the teaching of Buddha. We may denote them as different teachings. But Sri Ramakrishna says, all these teachings of the great people, they all, in fact, are from the same source. We may differentiate them as different sources of those teachings. Like Sri Krishna said here, we may ascribe those fulfillment of desires by different gods and goddesses, by different deities. But Sri Krishna says, ultimately, it all comes from me. Mayaiva vihitān. I am only the dispenser of all these fulfillment of desires. It is not, you may perceive them to be coming from a smaller god, from this deity. But in truth, it is all, I am the ultimate provider. Don't forget that. You may not know it at your level of understanding, you may not know it. You may feel that, okay, this my beloved goddess has given me, has fulfilled my desire. My beloved God has fulfilled my desire. Okay, it doesn't matter. Be happy with that. But ultimately, it is I am doing it, the whole thing for you. I have scripted this play that your desires will be fulfilled by this deity. It is all my script, and it has to go like that. But that worship has to be with the full shraddha, with the unshakable faith in your deity, whichever form then you worship, doesn't matter at all. That form will fulfill your desires. But at the end of it, it is I am who is bestowing those blessings. That was such a beautiful explanation by Sri Krishna, that ultimately it comes from the same source. Like the rainwater is the ultimate source, and we perceive water to be coming from the lake, from the river, from the tank, from the tube well, from the open well. That is what Sri Krishna does for the devotees, whichever is the level of the devotee. Maybe lower level, doesn't matter, but Sri Krishna says stick to that. Have firm faith and proceed forward. So that was the 22nd shloka of the Jnana Vidyaan Yoga, and slowly we are getting to know how to attain that Vijnana, how to attain that ultimate knowledge, bring it in practice. So that is Sri Krishna's teaching to us in this 22nd shloka of the Jnana Vidyana Yoga, the 7th adhyaya of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Sri Ramakrishna. Jai Thakur. Jai Ma. Jai Swamiji.